All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 605 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And we got some Georgia Southern football talk on deck. Speaking of Georgia Southern football, I need to start buying some more. I need to buy some more apparel for Georgia Southern. I'm kind of slacking on that. But nevertheless, we're going to talk about some Georgia Southern players. We have a total of 8 that received Phil Steele All Sun Belt team. And I'm kind of mad about this because I saw this earlier this week and I should have made a video on it, but I was caught up in other things that I was making episodes for. Well, so my apologies. But we're going to talk about the 8 players that made honors. I think this is really cool. So we're going to talk about these players, give my thoughts and opinions on them, and also let you know, in my opinion, where this team is going. So this is a pretty awesome, situation. If this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. So if you want to check me out on the podcast avenue, I highly recommend it. Don't hesitate to hit that 5-star rating for you guys on Apple. I know a lot of people listen to this show on Apple Podcasts. I know it's, for some reason it seems like it's the bigger of the 4 podcast avenues. And don't hesitate. Give me a high rating on any of the avenues that you're on. Hit the like button, share this podcast, let people know what we're doing over here. Also, you can find me on Twitter at VFBaller and the website, firstandframerates.com. You can go over there, check the website out, and support the show. All right, let's just go ahead and get into this because first team offense, Khalil Crowder, offensive guard. I mean, you probably see him on the screen if you're watching this on the podcast, or watching the podcast on YouTube or Rumble. Khalil Crowder, excellent offensive lineman for Georgia Southern. The offensive line for Georgia Southern was phenomenal last year, so hopefully we can keep that up. Khalil Crowder does get recognition, and Caleb Hood, the wide receiver, with not just being a wide receiver. I mean, this kid can do a little bit of everything. Very good on special teams as well. So really good look there to have these two guys first team offense. Second team offense, you have Brian Miller. I think he's a 7th year offensive tackle. Another great asset to have, nice anchor to have on the offensive line. And running back Jalen White. I mean, what can you say about him? Every time he touches the ball, he tries to make something happen. He can run over you and he can run past you. One of my favorite players, that's the Georgia Southern Eagle. So you can't get no better than that. And for them to be second team, just a great recognition there. Second team defense, Marquez Watson Trent, really good linebacker for Georgia Southern. Watch him come on to be the player that he is from day one. Watch him come in and do some things as a freshman, make his way up to where he is now. Second team defense, which in my opinion, he probably got a little bit snubbed. You can say the same thing for Jalen White, but that's a whole nother story for another day. But Watson Trent, I'm okay with the second team defense, but I think you could have made a case possible for first team, possibly. So third team offense, which I think this is an absolute robbery. This is a robbery. We got Durham Burgess as third team offense. Now, if you've seen anything what this kid could do last year, the spectacular catches, the yards at the catch, this kid has hands unlike no other. Probably the best hands in all of the Sun Belt. He should be, in my opinion, absolutely be first team offense along with Caleb Hood and Khalil Crowder. Third team offense, that's a big time snub right there. I'm not a fan of that, but he did get honors, so you cannot really knock it at the end of the day. Third team offense is Demel Hickman, cornerback. I want to see what he's going to be capable of. I didn't really read him too much last year, but he's on this list for a reason. So it will be really interesting to see how this plays out for him. And fourth team offense is Davis Brin. Well, Davis Brin has shown that he could play some ball. He played at Tulsa, did pretty good for himself. He's going to be in an offense that is going to cater to passing, and he should show how well he could be. He's probably going to be the top passer in the Sun Belt. I mean, he could easily be that. If Kyle Van Treese was able to do that last year with the weapons we had, we pretty much enhanced the weapons, got a bigger tight end, got a couple of good receivers that's coming in. You still got Jet Thompson, Durham Burgess is coming back. You also have Caleb Hood and you have Sam Kinison coming back. Davis Brent should have no problem completing passes. Absolutely none. Completing passes should be, like second nature on this team. So I can see him having a high completion percentage and probably have a lot of yards. So with him being fourth team offense, it makes me wonder what are the other quarterbacks in the Sun Belt, how do they stack up against? I mean, you got Granger at Georgia State. You still, I think, what's that kid name from the Chanticleers? He should be back. Grayson McCall, he should be back. I know Bryce is gone from Appalachian State. I think Centerio is still at JMU. I'm not sure. So you got a handful of quarterbacks, but I'm not saying Davis Brin is the best in the Sun Belt because he's just moving over, but he has the potential and he has the weapons to easily throw 45 plus, 47 plus. I mean, he can really skyrocket and be up there with Kyle Van Treese as far as passing yards, probably be in the top 5 in the country. So with him being fourth team offense, and to be honest, I didn't even know they had a fourth team. But with that being said, cool for him to get honors, but I expect him to probably be the best quarterback in the Sun Belt once it's all said and done. Just have too many weapons, man. And not to mention, I didn't even talk about the running backs that come out the backfield that can catch the ball. He has so many weapons. Like he should be, that guy. So at the end of the day, this is what you're looking at. Khalil Crowder once again, Caleb Hood, first team offense. You got offensive tackle Brian Miller and Jalen White. You also have Marquez Watson Trent at second team defense. Third team offense is Durham Burgess, which I think is a snub. Third team defense is Demel Hickman. I want to see what he's capable of. And fourth team offense is Davis Brin. So this is what you got. I'm not mad at this list. You got some kids here that's pretty much proven. Everybody that's on this list has pretty much been proven to do some big things on the field. You can probably find highlights on every player that's on here easily. I can tell you how many times that Caleb Hood, Durham Burgess, them two, and even Jalen White on the offensive side of the ball, how well they've been, on that, moving the ball, catching passes, running over people. Caleb Hood, returning punts and kickoffs. He's that guy. And you look at like David Brin, you can go look at some of his things, some of the stats that he's done, or some of the film that he's done at Tulsa. He's going to be capable of making some things happen. So this is not necessarily the best list, because I think this list could be better because we could move some of these guys up, like Trent and Burgess, and we could have possibly got a couple more people from Georgia Southern on this list. You can make a case for O.J. Arnold at running back. You can make a case for a couple other guys on defense that actually done pretty good for themselves. So you have a plethora of players that actually done some things and showed up and showed out when need be. And it just goes back at the end of the day before I close, what Coach Clay Helton is doing over here. I mean, I sound like a broken record when I say this, but Coach Clay Helton has put a team together that looks really good. They're going to be able to, continue to build and uplift and inspire young men to be better football players, where we can go up against another Power 5 team and actually give them a run. Wisconsin looks a little bit scary right now, but if we could stretch these guys out, which I'll definitely talk about this at a later date, we could stretch these guys out and distribute the ball, their defense is not going to be that good. That's one way that you beat a fast defense for the most part. You spread them out and you run at them. You can't have them bunched in because all of them want to attack you. But with all these weapons, it's going to be very hard for teams to say, oh, let's go after Anthony Quealy. Oh, let's go after Keaton. Oh, let's go after Barton. Oh, there's there's Burgess. There's Dalen Cobb. There's Sam Kinison. Oh, Arnold's coming out the backfield. Oh, Jalen White's about to run us over. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of, J.J. McCaffrey. You got a lot of players that actually can do some things. I ain't even talk about Jet Thompson and Marcus Sanders. I mean, this is like ridiculous how many weapons this team has, to be honest. And last year, a lot of these guys showed up at certain times. Now you're starting to see where the transition to where you bring in more people in and more people can start buying in and more people are going to start being able to implement the type of offense and defense that this team is trying to run. This could be a really scary team for a lot of for a lot of teams in the Sun Belt. Even a couple Power 5 teams may not want to be dealing with us. Now, we got 8 guys that got honors for all Sun Belt. I don't know if this is like the highest or whatever out of all the teams, but 8 players on this particular list is actually, it's pretty good, And like I said, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that are offensive laden, and you got 2 of them that's on defense. So once again, it kind of showed you what kind of offense that this team is running. But once again, don't sleep on this defense. This defense was able to put this offense on notice in the spring game. Say what you want, say what you will about the spring game. It don't mean much, but I will say this. Now, finally going to finish here. What we saw in the spring game last year, as far as the defense wasn't able to stop the offense, we kind of saw that in the regular season when the defense couldn't stop a little bit of anybody. This time around, this defense is stopping this offense. So can you make a case that this team may be more defensive-minded than we think? It's something to think about. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think. How excited are you about these 8 players being on Phil Steele's All Sun Belt team? Don't get me wrong. I love what, Phil Steele does. He does a great job. You got a couple other Athlon Sports. You still have Lindy Sports, something like that. All these publications do a really good job. So I'm really cool about it, and I love it. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble, also Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, and Google Podcasts. I can be found on Twitter at VFBaller. Also, I am on the website, firstandframerates.com. All right, y'all, I'm going to get up out of here. I'll see you guys on Thursday. And, we're just going to keep chugging right along. And it's all thanks to you guys. All right, y'all, I'm out of here. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.